There isn't a single person in this world that is an exact replica of someone else. The world is a vast and diverse environment, wouldn't you agree? We all seem to want to get along with each other, yet people who are different than others, that are not considered the norm, are shunned, rejected, and even persecuted. The pain and suffering people have gone through because of their dissimilarities with others is unimaginable. This image of inequality is depicted in various ways, and I will demonstrate it using examples from John Wyndham's novel, The Chrysolids, my observations, and my own personal experiences. The novel The Chrysolids, although fictional, fully exemplifies how people are disapproved in society for not being normal. For instance, in the totalitarian town of Waknuk, the greater part of the population despises people that are different from what they're used to. Those who are shunned and considered outcasts. They're kicked out of town and are not viewed as humans, but rather as mutants and monsters. The townspeople are so blinded by their opinions that babies, even before birth, aren't acknowledged until they're inspected to prove that they are regular and don't have a single defect to make them deviant. The practices of the people of Waknuk are so strict that they will hunt down and kill those who do not abide by their standards. The actions shown in this novel might seem excessive, but in truth, they are very similar to those of our past. In history, and even today, there have been so many innocent people that have been mistreated and abused simply because of how they are or because their beliefs do not line up with what society deems ordinary. The history of the First Nations is a perfect example. They were taken away from their families, brought to residential schools where they were stripped from their culture and everything they know, and forced to be like everyone else. That hasn't been the only case of people being abused. For far too long, people of color have suffered not only as slaves but even as citizens. They didn't have the same privileges as others did and had to fight for their rights as people. They are still being ill-treated, beaten, and persecuted just for being themselves. Another example of this is seen in religions. People who have practiced different religions from what they're supposed to end up being persecuted, stoned, and even burned to death. The way people treat those that are not like them is seen in more than just history and a fictional book. It still happens today. In my life and in the lives of those closest to me, there have been many occasions where we've been treated unfairly simply because of our dissimilarities with certain people. When I was in elementary school, I was excluded by my sister's friends. They didn't want me to hang out with her because I was too young. Although that situation might have been minor, as a child everything feels huge. But this incident doesn't compare to what others in my family have gone through. My father, for example, has been through situations where people would start fights with him, try to get him in trouble, and call him names, and when he was younger, other kids wouldn't want to hang around him. All of those because of the color of his skin. He wasn't the only one who got mistreated for that reason. His brother, my uncle, was also bullied as a kid, but my father was almost always there to protect and stand up for him. I've known people who have been mistreated for not being able to learn at the same rate as others. There are many individuals who have gone through things that have made them feel shunned and lesser than others. These are just a small part of the injustices that I've seen in my life because of the fact people were considered not to be part of the norm. To bring this dissertation to an end, I hope to have successfully proven my outlook through the fictional novel The Chrysolids, my observations, and my own personal experiences. The fact is that people who are different than others, that are not considered the norm, are shunned, rejected, and even persecuted. But we must take a look at ourselves and answer a simple question. What are we doing to put an end to all these injustices? Are we fixing the problem or just adding fuel to the fire?